Thanks, dude25643 for the interest. It's Rell, and let's dive further into cave crawlers, heroic Pyxel LLC's fast-paced first-person roguelite. Time to bring some dwarfs through some more caves. First, let's look at the expertise tree. It's really cool. I love the variety of possible builds. But I don't love not getting a weapon early, with the majority of the nodes being weapon-specific and locking in for a while. The loot goblin perk that guarantees a weapon in your first chest is really cool, but I'm a little unsure why we need to open 150 chests before getting a basic quality of life perk. Some ones just take forever if you get stuck with a starting pickaxe. Having a torch tree does help, but many of the passives only boost multiplayer skills, particularly the ones to get to the best torch skill. Makes for a really awkward solo experience. It's important to learn how to use every weapon type. You never know when you're going to go dry on finding your preferred weapon, or find a crazy powerful weapon in another type. Now, I don't know if it's just my playstyle, but runs where a bow showed up early were just fundamentally different from every other run. They're fantastic for picking off enemies and whittling down bosses. Honestly, in all my good solo runs, I had picked up a bow before floor 10, even if I was specializing in other weapons. Ranged infinite arrows just allowed for some crazy kiting. While I did mention I don't love locking into weapon types when there are random drops during your exploration, the game has already accounted for this with respec shrines, and a talent that lets you respec. Nice preemptive problem solving. The developer seems really eager to keep the trees balanced, and is open to feedback. Really awesome to see. Now let's jump into the runs themselves. Escape ropes are rare. Be ready for any dwarf you bring in to end up dead. It's not a guarantee, but you want to be ready. As far as roguelites go, runs can take a long time to complete. Just getting to the first boss can take over an hour. Make sure you have time before starting a run. You can pause, but you can't really save and come back later. I really enjoyed my first few deep runs into the caves. They were intense survival experiences. Every combat planned, and healing items used liberally to make sure I didn't die. Beating each boss for the first time felt really fulfilling. So, why only the first few runs? Well, unlocking higher difficulty helps. The vast majority of the game is pretty easy once you get it down. The bats never stop being awful though. Man, I hate them. Now you still have to learn new enemy types and bosses, but it gets more grating having to slog through over an hour of basic enemies you already know how to beat, just for another chance to learn enemies and bosses on the lower levels. Also, as you play, you realize there aren't that many rooms total. Well, it's enough for the first playthrough, it honestly just gets samey the more runs you do. The developer is working to add more, and has added a bunch of event rooms. One of the major highlights of the game for me. Also, literally reversing the rooms is a clever way to make it feel like there's more variety. Good use of resources. Make sure you use your talents and perks. They help speed up your runs just a little bit more. The dwarf voice lines are hilarious. Though like with most of the game, it can be repetitive, the torch durability is extremely well balanced. If you're going quick, you will have enough, but if you start taking your time, you will start to run into issues with light. Remember to refill your torch each time you see a new one. Overall, the developer has done a great job of working with a relatively small amount of resources, rooms, enemies, etc., and turning it into a fun experience. For me, it provided a good couple hours of fun, but ended up getting repetitive. But games don't have to last forever, and I'm happy I played this one. Plus, the developer is still adding more to the game. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night.